Am I wrong for telling my wife I'm moving, and it's up to her if she's coming with me or not? When I told my wife that I was moving out of state and that it was her choice whether to come with me or not, I didn't mean for it to sound cruel. I wasn't trying to issue an ultimatum. I was just done trying to convince someone who didn't want to build the same kind of life I did. We'd been married for 4 years, together for 8. And in that time, I've learned that love doesn't just fade. It wears down slowly like sandpaper on the soul. I'm 32 now, an electrician by trade. I work long days, the kind that leave your hands rough and your back sore, but your head clear. I've always liked working with my hands because the results are real. When something's broken, you fix it. You see the difference. You know what you've done. My wife, Alyssa, is the opposite. She's an artist. When we met, that difference between us was magnetic. She was all chaos and color and light. I was solid ground. She'd paint at 2 in the morning while music played through cheap speakers, and I'd just watch her, half in love and half amazed that anyone could feel that free. But freedom without direction is just drift. Back then, I thought she'd grow into her dreams, that one day she'd channel that creative energy into something lasting. She had talent. She still does. Her work could be breathtaking, the kind that makes you stop and stare because it feels alive. I wanted to believe in that future, so I supported her through grad school while I was still working my way up the ladder. She studied art therapy. The idea was beautiful, using creativity to heal people, to give meaning through expression. When she graduated, we talked about her opening a small studio. I even found her a cheap space downtown to rent, told her I'd help renovate it. But she said, not yet. I need to find my real calling first. That not yet turned into years. While I was taking extra shifts and certifications to move up, she was chasing alignment. Every month it was something new: ceramics, oil painting, sound healing, manifestation retreats. She was always one workshop away from figuring out who she wanted to be. And I kept waiting. Every time I tried to talk about money, she said I was obsessed with it. Every time I brought up our future, she accused me of not trusting her process. She'd tell me, you can't rush the soul, and I'd tell her, but the rent's due next week. We fought in circles. I'd come home after a 10-hour shift to find incense burning, the kitchen covered in half-finished art projects, and her sitting cross-legged on the floor with headphones in. Sometimes she'd forget to cook. Sometimes she'd spend $400 on crystals to balance energy and tell me they were an investment. I started to feel like the only adult in the relationship. It wasn't about control, I just wanted us to be partners. I wanted to build something, not just float. But every time I tried to plan, she'd move the goalpost. She'd say, why do you care so much about security? You can't take money to the grave. I started wondering if she'd even notice if I wasn't there. Then came the job offer. It was the opportunity. I'd been waiting for project supervisor for a new construction project in Colorado. It meant double the pay, benefits, relocation assistance, everything I'd dreamed of. Finally, after years of grinding, something tangible. I came home that night buzzing with excitement. She was in the living room painting a huge abstract piece in blue and gold. I remember thinking how beautiful she looked in that moment, paint on her arms, hair tied up, the late sun catching her face. I told her, Alyssa, guess what? I got the offer. They want me to start in 6 weeks. This could change everything for us. She stopped mid-stroke, turned to me and said flatly, where? Colorado, I said, grinning. Near Denver. It's a big development project. They're giving me a team. We could finally buy a place. You could have your own studio. It's quiet there, creative. You'd love it. She stared at me like I'd said something disgusting. Colorado? You mean you want to drag me to some frozen suburb so you can play boss man? Her tone knocked the air out of me. What? No, Alyssa, I'm trying to. I'm not moving to the mountains so you can feel important, she snapped. You knew I've been trying to reconnect with the art community here. You've been talking about reconnecting for 3 years, I said, my voice rising. You haven't sold a single piece. or taken a real job in that time. I've been killing myself trying to keep us afloat, and now when I finally have a chance for something better, you can't even be happy for me." She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said quietly, "You're choosing money over love." That hurt more than I expected, because it wasn't true, not at all. I'd chosen love for years. I'd chosen it every time I picked up another shift, every time I came home to an empty table and a house that smelled like sage and disappointment. That night we didn't talk. She slept in the guest room. Over the next few weeks, I tried everything to make it work. I showed her apartments near art districts in Colorado, galleries, even artist-in-residence programs. I told her I'd help her find clients, that she could finally focus full-time on her art. She didn't care. Every conversation ended in the same fight, me begging for compromise, her saying I was betraying who she was. Then one evening, about a month before my move date, I came home to find our power off. She'd forgotten to pay the bill again. There were candles everywhere, and she was sitting on the floor with a few of her friends, doing some sort of energy circle. I just stood there, staring at the flickering shadows, and something inside me snapped. Later that night, after her friends left, I told her we needed to talk. She sat across from me on the couch, arms folded, waiting for another fight. But my voice came out calm, almost too calm. "I've accepted the job," I said. She blinked. "What? I'm moving to Colorado. The truck comes in 3 weeks. I want you to come with me, but if you don't want to, that's your choice." Her face went pale. "So you're leaving me?" "I'm not leaving you," I said softly. "I'm leaving this version of us where I'm the only one trying." "You're giving me an ultimatum," she said, tears welling. "No, I'm giving you a choice," I replied. "I've spent years waiting for you to build something with me. I can't keep waiting for you to decide if you even want the same life." She didn't say anything, just started crying. Then she whispered, "You don't love me anymore." "I do," I said, and I meant it. But love isn't enough when it's only coming from one side. She packed a bag that night and left to stay with her sister. For 3 weeks, I didn't hear from her. Her sister texted me a few times, saying I was cruel and emotionally manipulative. My mother-in-law called and told me I should find a way to work things out because marriage means sacrifice. But how much was I supposed to sacrifice before I had nothing left? When moving day came, I loaded the truck alone. Her art supplies were still in the spare room, canvases stacked against the wall, brushes left soaking in cloudy water. I almost left a note, but what was there left to say? The drive to Colorado was long and quiet. Somewhere around the state line, I started crying, not from regret, but from release. It was like my body had been holding its breath for years, and finally exhaled. The first few nights in the new apartment were rough. Everything echoed, my footsteps, the hum of the fridge, the emptiness. I didn't know if I'd made the right choice. I kept checking my phone, half expecting her to text and say she was coming. But she didn't. A week later, she finally called. Her voice was small, almost fragile. "I miss you," she said. "I miss you too," I told her. "But I can't come," she said. "I'm not ready to give up my path." "I understand," I said quietly. "But I can't keep pausing my life waiting for you to find yours." There was a long silence. Then she said, "You always need control. That's your problem." And she hung up. That night, I sat on the balcony with a beer in hand, watching the mountains fade into darkness. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel heavy. It just felt like mine. It's been 3 months now. I've settled into the new job. My team's solid, the work's demanding but rewarding. On weekends, I hike or just drive with the windows down, music loud, air crisp. I've even started painting the apartment myself, simple colors, clean lines. Sometimes I still think about her. I see something, a streak of gold on a canvas, a song we used to play, and it hits me all over again. I loved her more than I've ever loved anyone. But love can't fix a person who refuses to stand beside you in the same life. Her sister texted me last week. She's still hurt. You broke her. Maybe I did. But what people don't understand is that she was breaking me, too, just slower, quieter over time. Death by 1,000 unmet promises. Alyssa posted something on Instagram recently, a photo of her standing in front of one of her paintings, smiling. The caption said, "Finally free to follow my truth." I liked the post. I meant it. I hope she finds whatever she's chasing. But I also hope she understands that I wasn't the villain. I was just a man who ran out of ways to keep pretending everything was fine. I don't know if that makes me an asshole. Maybe it does. Maybe leaving was selfish. Maybe it was cowardly. But for the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. And if that's wrong, I don't want to be right.